6 months ago, I strapped on a 12-pound weighted vest and I could barely make it through 2 miles. Now I'm walking 3 miles with 20 pounds and sometimes thinking about going up to 30. And the changes I've seen go way beyond stronger legs. I'm going to share with you the 5 biggest shifts that have completely surprised me. You're going to learn how something as simple as walking in a weighted vest can boost your strength, support fat loss, and even protect your bones. And I'm going to walk you through exactly what changed for me over 6 months and how you could start in a way that feels doable and not intimidating. So let's start with the most obvious change, strength. Because trust me, I didn't expect from being able to go from barely surviving a 12-mile or a 12-pound vest to actually enjoying 3 miles and a 20-pound one. And some days I catch myself thinking, do I really want to grab a 30-pound one? But it wasn't about my legs and my calves just getting stronger, right? This vest forced my whole body to adapt. My core got stronger, my posture improved, and even my endurance actually surprised me. Because I'm going to be honest, the first time I wore it, I actually felt a little ridiculous. I'm like watching people look at me and people are staring and I'm like, what am I even doing? Right? But here's what I learned. Adding resistance doesn't just make the walk harder in the moment. It's building the muscles that carry you through the rest of your life, right? And so you don't have to start heavy, right? If a 12 or 20-pound vest feels like too much, which most likely it could, because you really should start with 5 to 10% of your body weight, then you want to start smaller. Maybe even start with an 8-pound vest. And you're still going to feel the difference without stressing out your joints. But here's the thing, strength wasn't the only change I noticed. The more I read and the more consistent I got, I realized that this wasn't just about the walk that I was doing today. It was about protecting my body long term. Because as women in midlife, right, bone density isn't exactly the thing that we think about at 7 a.m. over coffee, but it really actually matters because every year over 40, we start actually losing bone mass. And that means higher risk for injuries and slower recovery. And it really starts to sneak up at us without even noticing it. And so research has shown that adding resistance, like a weighted vest, can help improve bone strength and reduce the risk of osteoporosis. And that kind of like hit me hard because I don't want to be the mom who has to sit things out later in life. I want to be the one that is still moving with my kids and one day my grandkids and maybe, who knows, my great grandkids, right? So wearing a weighted vest might look a little intense when I'm out walking in the streets, but it's like insurance, right? It's the small thing I can do now that protects my body for years down the road. And all of these things were huge. Protecting my bones were huge, right? And the strength. But what I didn't expect was starting to notice changes in my metabolism. And that kind of caught me off guard because, I used to, if you listen to my video, like yesterday, I used to think that walking didn't count. Like if I wasn't really just dripping in sweat, I wasn't really making a difference. But adding this weighted vest actually changes the game because when you walk with added resistance, your muscles have to work harder, right? So you're gaining strength, but you're burning more calories in the moment when you're walking. And you build lean muscle that keeps your metabolism to continue going, right? And as for us women in this fun midlife stage, that's super huge because our metabolism doesn't keep going and revving at the same pace. It actually just naturally slows down. And that, old eat less, do more cardio, right? It just doesn't cut it anymore. So look, don't get me wrong. I still do HIIT. It still has a place in my workouts, but the difference is that I don't just depend on my cardio anymore, right? I don't have to go hard, all the time. I can walk, add my vest, and know that I'm getting part of my resistance training in. And so these are some of the things I actually teach inside of my Core 3 Hormone Reset Guide, because it's not about always doing more. And it's not about having more to add all the time. It's really about just making sure that you're sending the right signals to your body for food and movement, and that you have the strategy so that your hormones and metabolism are actually working for you and not against you. So if you haven't grabbed it yet, the link is below. Really, this crazy part, the vest didn't just change my metabolism, it actually also changed my consistency. And for me, that was a huge win because before the vest, walking was something, I was starting to do. I would do it sometimes, sometimes not, right? And when it really became part of my routine, almost like a non-negotiable, I really started to make sure that I was going, right? And I've got two vests. I've got a 12-pound and I've got a 20-pound. And, sometimes I even rotate depending on the day, right? If I'm walking with one of my friends who has super long legs and goes super fast, I usually throw my 12-pound so that I can keep up with her. If I'm by myself or my husband or, we're going for an after dinner walk, I'll put on my 20-pound. And people stop me all the time when I'm wearing it and they're like, what is that? Why are you wearing it? And I never miss an opportunity to explain it because it's really become a part of who I am and not someone who just tries to walk, right? I'm actually somebody who does and who wears my weighted vest all the time. And that mindset shift has really carried into more than just my walks. It's reminded me that I can do hard things, right? And even if people are looking at me funny or they don't maybe get it right away, that's the kind of consistency that really makes the results stick. So here's the thing. It's not just about my muscles, my metabolism, right? Some of the biggest shifts were in the little things I didn't even expect. And it's things like I caught myself standing taller, not slouching over my phone or sinking into the couch. My shoulders pulled back more and my core felt stronger. And honestly, it just made me feel more confident and I didn't even realize it. And it wasn't just about posture. It was about this quiet sense of I'm doing something that most people aren't willing to do. Yeah, maybe people will look at me funny walking the cul-de-sacs in a 20-pound vest, but I really don't care anymore because every time I do it, it's just a reminder that I can do hard things and that carries me into way more than my walks. So if this shows you anything, it's not that you have to overhaul your life to see a change. A vest, a walk, 10 minutes, small, repeatable stuff works. And that's exactly why I put together my Core 3 Hormone Reset Guide because food, movement, and strategy are put together in a way that actually fits into your life. So you can grab it at the link below if you want to see how it all works together. And if you're into this kind of real life stuff, don't miss my video, 7 Unsexy Tips That Will Change Your Life After 40. They're not pretty, they're not flashy, but they're the ones that actually make the difference. I'll link it right here.